Record podcast with Mr. and Mrs. Record. I am Mrs. Record, and this is my amazing, amazing husband,
Sterling.
And we are so excited to be back. It is episode 6.
Yes, it is.
And this is all about celibacy, sex.
Before we get into any of that stuff, just give yourself a round of applause.
Why?
6th episode.
6
weeks of consistency. People don't know the behind the scenes to get podcasts done. So, you have to clap for yourself. 6 weeks of consistency is a good thing.
For sure.
But yes, we are back and we are ready to go. And we're going to keep trying to be as consistent as possible over these next few weeks, months. We haven't even talked about whether there's seasons, like if this is season 1 or whether this just goes on for, I don't know. I have no idea. We don't know. But we'll figure that out as we go. But anyways, enough of my rambling. How are you today?
I'm okay. How are you?
I feel like every single time we do this, I say I'm tired. So today I'm going to say I'm excited.
Yes.
And as we go, I'm going to become more excited. Okay, 100%.
Listen, 100%. I'm tired as well, babe. I hear it. Literally went to Dubai for the week, came back on Friday, went to a speaking engagement on Saturday morning, left the house at like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Then got back at like 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Then had church today, came here. So in terms of I hear you.
Thank you for hearing me. Appreciate it. Yes, but yeah, let's get into it. So we spin in the record today, as we usually do. If you do not know what that means, at the start of every episode, we have a segment called Spin the Record, which was named by you guys. Thank you very much for that. So we spin in the record today, which basically means that we take a question from the audience, whether it came through Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, messages, YouTube, wherever, and we answer it at the start of every episode. So today's question comes from my little cousin. I'm gonna keep her anonymous for because I can't remember whether she said that I could say her name or not. So my little cousin, and she asked the question: what hard questions are important to ask in a relationship to build a healthy one?
I'll be honest. I will ask about your future. I'd ask you in terms of where do you see yourself in like 5 years time, 10 years time, especially because I feel like who you do life with is one of the most important things you would decide is who you're doing life with. And I feel you need to know what their vision is in terms of their life, because you need to see as to whether your vision aligns with it and as to whether you can see yourself in that vision. Because if you can't, then it's one of those things where you're going to be at different crossroads. So I think it's really important to ask, their vision, what do they want to do? What do they want to
How in depth does that need to be? Is it like, are you looking for like a 10-year plan with things every year? Are you looking for just that this is where the direction I'm going in? Like, how in depth do you need a man's vision to be?
I think for me, I'm one person that I think it's really important. Like, you would know this. Like, my question always is, what's the plan? And I think the reason why I say what's the plan is because, yes, I believe, walk by, faith and not by sight. But the Bible also comes and says that faith without works is dead. And I think it's really important that we have to be ones that, don't just, pray about something but don't prepare for that prayer. So I feel like I want to see what your preparation process looks like. What's the plan? Like, what does it look like in terms of, okay, cool, you're saying that you want to get a job in tech. So if you want to get a job in tech, like, cool, do you have a LinkedIn profile? Like, are you going actively to networking events? Like, I want to see as to whether you are somebody that knows where you're going, but you actually have plans in place to execute where you're going. Because I think a lot of people have plans, but a lot of people lack in execution. And I think it's really important that, before execution comes, you need a plan. So for me, have the vision, right? For me, I think obviously, I think as we are journeying together, the vision is going to come more in depth. Right. So obviously, if I'm just starting off to date you, I may ask you just in brief, like, what do you want to do? Where are you looking to go?
Yeah.
And obviously, as I journey with you, it's kind of like, okay, what's the plan? Like, what does that look like? How much, do you want to be making? Where do you want to live? Like, obviously, all those questions will become more defined as you journey with somebody. But I think it's really important that, you first can at least get somebody to tell you, like, where do they want to go? Because if somebody doesn't know where they want to end up in life, I think that's a scary thing, especially if you're potentially looking at someone as your life partner.
Yeah. from a woman's perspective, I can understand. If you're believing this person to be someone who's like kind of steering the ship, navigating, kind of helping to determine the direction of your family's life, and he doesn't know where he's going, I can completely understand that. Yes. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'll ask about your body count.
Okay.
I'll ask in terms of sexually, like how active have you been? Like, because the best I can say is like there's 2 questions I'll, focus on, things that will deal with your future and things that will deal with your past. And I think as a woman, I'd like to know what am I dealing with? Like in a sense of, listen, have you got any kids? Have you got any kids that you may not know about? Have you got anyone claiming that you could be the father of their kids? Like, I need to know. I am one person that, I remember when we had a conversation in terms of if you had a child, like you could have easily had a child that had a 15-year-old now. You did share that.
I could have had a 15-year-old.
Wait, you were celibate for how long? Like 10, 20?
So you're talking about when I was sleeping with someone when I was like 15.
Yeah. Not 15, sorry, tell a lie. So you would have had maybe a 10-year-old now.
Yeah, like a 10.
You could have even had like a 10.
Yeah, I could have. Yeah.
And that would have changed the game for me.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I'm not ready to be a stepmom.
Right.
And I think that's so important for you to know that for yourself. Right. So that's why I have to ask about your body count, because if there is, the potential of a child being there, like you're not going to know that conversation unless you know someone's sexual activity or their history. Sorry. I
hope that they would tell you, but some people don't.
Yeah.
But I hope that they would tell you if they knew there was a child.
Yeah.
I hope so. Because people will just be keeping child secrets. It's just, that one's just, anyways, yeah.
Yeah, those are my 2 things. How about you? What are 2?
I think for me, the things that I found that have the biggest impact are either in relation to your relationship with your mum or your relationship with your dad. So I think I'll just keep it that simple and find out as much as I can about a relationship with a mum and as much as I can about a relationship with a dad.
Okay.
Because I found that both of those cause problems in a marriage in different ways from different angles. And the more I understand it, the more I know what I'm going into. And also the more, and by the way, understanding these things in yourself is also very important, because let's say Hayley was to ask me this question, like, what's your relationship like with your dad? And I've never deeped it, and I come with this blasé answer. Oh yeah, it's cool. Like we don't talk that much, but it's very surface. I'm not going to be able to give you what's necessary to really understand like where I'm at with that. It's important for us to be self-aware and say like, here's where I'm at with my dad. Here's where I'm at with my mom. What do I actually think this does to my life right now? So yeah, those would be my 2 questions. How's mum? How's dad? I think those 2 cover everything for me. I'm not going to lie.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So we have, I guess, ended the Spin the Records.
Yeah. We done with that for now.
Yeah. But actually, before I go on for this episode, I want to shout out my girls, Courtney, Daniela, and Renee. Congratulations on the To My Sisters book. These are my very, very good friends, and I'm just so proud of them. And this is one of the copies that I do have. I have about 3 copies. I have another one as well. I have about 3 copies, but I want to give a copy away.
Yeah.
And what I'd want to give this copy away, who I'd want to give this copy away to, hopefully I can try and get it signed. I'm going to try and get Courtney and Renee to sign it and actually ship it out.
That would be cool.
Yes, I'm going to try and get them to sign it. So Renee
cool.
and Courtney, if you're listening to this,
you better come to our house and you sign this this book.
Yeah, the girls were at the house like, what is it, like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
They didn't leave until like 4 a.m. in the morning. We were playing games, talks, like they're my sisters.
I was locked in the bedroom.
He was locked in the bedroom.
Away from all the estrogen.
Literally, the book is called To My Sisters, and they are literally my sisters.
Talk about sisterhood.
You
love sisterhood. Talk about that.
Sisterhood.
Tell them about sisterhood. Why do they want this book?
Why do they want this book? It's a guide to building lifelong friendships. But these are 2 women who are high achieving women. Renee, has gone to Oxford, to Harvard. Courtney being a Cambridge graduate. Both businesswomen, both are media connoisseurs. They're
superstars.
Both women that
superstars
I look up to, but women who I trust in terms of, the intricate parts of my life.
Right.
Where I've asked them for advice. I've cried to them. They've seen me cry. We've all had moments where we've, had vulnerabilities and really just allow. They were even my trad, my Chikoyi girls for my trad. So even just having them to be at different moments of my life. I mean, Courtney sang down my bridesmaids.
Yes,
there's so many
Courtney,
different
Daniela,
levels.
the vocals.
People don't know about the people. Listen,
and Renee was helping you with your degree.
Renee was Oh gosh, girl. I was gonna say girl.
Yeah, I'm not your girl. I'm not your girl.
Husband, should I say? Like Renee helped me get my degree. Like there's just both of them have contributed to where I am.
Important
in so
parts
many ways.
of life for real.
And I just want to shout out to my sister.
Just sell out the book.
Yeah, bro.
Just buy all of them.
You better get into that.
Just buy them all.
The YouTube and get the book.
Yeah.
But as I said, I'm gonna give away a free copy. Hopefully, I can get it signed. But you know, I want to really give a free copy, and I want to give it out to a woman who really is desiring, who's really desiring better friendships. And I would love, to just see what friendship means to you. So if you're a woman and if you're UK based, please comment below. What does friendship mean to you? Because that's something that we're going to actually navigate and talk about in the podcast one time, about the power of companionship in relationship. Because Stella and I were best friends before we got in a relationship, right? So I just want to say, listen, I want to pick someone at random, but I probably will pick someone that has the most sentimental comment. So please comment below. What
does friendship mean to you?
What does friendship mean to you?
What does it mean to you?
And we'll get back to you. We will get back to you.
You can get a free copy of this book to my sisters. And if you don't win, that's okay, because the link's going to be down below. And you can buy that book. Because
you can order it for your friends as well.
You should order it for all of your friends. Every sister you have, because it's to your sisters. Anyway, yes, let's get into this episode. Courtney, Renee, we love you. We support you.
And we're so proud of you. Congratulations once again, girls.
All right, you ready?
We're ready.
So we got like 100,000 million comments on the last episodes. I can't remember if the last one or the one before, but about celibacy. So we happened to touch on celibacy, and the whole world seems to have gone crazy. Yes. We have like 700,000 views on a TikTok clip about us talking about the fact that we didn't kiss for 2 years.
Yes.
100,000 on another clip where we're talking about how my wife is a queen lipser. And so altogether, between the two of them, nearly 1 million views about lip-syn and not kissing and not having sex and celibacy and all this stuff. So many YouTube comments, so many people asking for a full episode on celibacy. So we are going to try our best to dive into our experience and give as many gems really as possible, and hopefully help someone.
Yeah. One thing I definitely would say in terms of the abstinence journey.
What's the difference, by the way?
Okay, so a lot of people have tried to come for me and Sterling about celibacy and abstinence, how it's not the same thing. We understand. Celibacy.
I don't know the difference.
There is a definition of celibacy, which means you abstain forever. In terms of
so like a priest?
Yeah, literally, like a nun. So you're basically celibate for the rest of your life.
So celibacy is for priests?
Yes, but then also celibacy can mean abstinence as well.
Right.
So abstinence obviously means you're abstaining from sex for a period of time.
Right.
But also a lot of people tend to define celibacy as you are abstaining until marriage, until you're with a spouse. So, where some people abstain just for like a month, So even abstinence, it's not necessarily the same because...
So what are we doing? Abstinacy.
I guess we abstain till marriage. We abstain.
Celibastain. What are we doing?
We abstain from sex.
Okay, so
marriage.
Abstained.
Yeah, we abstain, celibacy, whatever. We don't
abstained.
Listen to me.
Whatever word you use, you understand what we're talking about.
The thing is that I didn't get no D before my wedding day.
Right.
That's literally the situation.
Mine was staying in my trousers until our wedding day.
Do you know what oh gosh, let me see.
Do you know what?
How much you have? Okay, cool.
Do you know what? Before we even get into the details of it, let's talk about the wedding night. Yeah. Because that was a very traumatic experience for you.
Yes, it was.
So, guys, if you know anything about me, if you've been close to me at all in my life throughout up to this point, you would know that I had never been drunk before in my entire life. You would know that I only have a couple glasses of alcohol, and I've never really been that interested in it. But on my wedding night, at the wedding,
my cousins got you drunk.
Some of my Congo cousins and some other people, like Ore, I know it was you, Ore. I was like some other people. I was asking them for a drink because I was thirsty, because I was on the dance floor. They were giving me full cups of Ray and Nephew, but I was too... I don't know what the word is. There was a lot going on, so I didn't even realize what I was doing. I was just taking a cup and I was just drinking it. So now, I'll leave this part to you since I don't remember it.
So basically, on our wedding night, which is obviously the night that I've been
the night you're supposed to get freaky,
the night that I've been anticipating, Sterling is flat out drunk. I had to carry him with Sam. Big up Sam.
Sam, love you.
Big up Sam.
I threw up in your car, I heard. I heard I threw up in your car.
Child.
I'm really sorry about that.
Sterling.
I'm sorry.
Oh, gosh, that night I was so embarrassed.
I'm sorry.
You know the ones where it's like, it was the first night of being married and I was embarrassed already with my husband. I was really
what do you mean?
Literally, it hasn't even been hours since we've got married. I'm here thinking,
what do you mean?
You're just embarrassing.
But think about,
you're not embarrassed.
No, but think about this. I firmed it through the whole wedding though.
Okay,
the whole wedding, I was fine. When people were giving me cups of Ray Nephew, it's only at the end. It's only when we left that I became a bit.
Okay, cool.
That's good though, right? You can congratulate me for that. I've never been drunk before in my life.
Okay,
you can congratulate me.
Okay, baby,
congratulate me though. Thank you.
Okay, so let me explain. Cool. We get into the hotel room now, and I've just
wait. But what about the journey to the hotel room? You were telling me that was traumatic as well.
Me and Sam literally had to carry. We had to literally carry you. I literally had to throw you on the bed.
I don't remember anything. So
literally, cool. So we get into the hotel room now. I throw Sterling into the bed. Because Sterling is heavier than me. I couldn't. And also bear in mind, like, I had my dress. My dress had mesh. Like, my dress was slit.
Yeah,
like,
if you've seen it, our outfits were sick, by the way. They were incredible.
So, literally, I've had my second dress on. My dress was mesh. It was a peng dress. And I'm carrying this guy. Literally, like, when I tell you, like, Sterling was on my... Like,
was that actually?
Bro, like, I was literally carrying
Wow, I'm so sorry.
So, obviously, I now get Sterling on to the bed. Then Sterling starts mumbling, saying he needs to throw up.
Oh.
I'm like, oh my gosh. So obviously I've got a bag now, and then Stell's like, no, I need to throw up. You're mumbling. You're like, I need to throw up. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm helping you.
At least I'm communicating.
I'm walking. Yeah, you was communicating. I'm
a pretty good drunk person.
So I'm getting Stell up. Hold on, babe. Can I land? I'm getting Stell up. I'm taking him to the bathroom, and he's throwing up like crazy, and the throwing up is stinking. So for me, I'm here thinking, oh my gosh, like this is not happening right now. So then I'm like, okay, what do you want? Are you hungry? Like, do you want water? So I'm getting him water. He's like, okay, are you hungry? He's like, yeah, I'm hungry. So I'm ordering pizza. So I order pizza now. I order pizza. By the time that the pizza comes, Sterling's flat out knocked out. I ate that pizza by myself. My wedding night. Let me tell you guys. Tops Pizza. Let me describe to you what on wedding night. My wedding night was watching my husband throw up, literally affirming him, saying, babe, it's going to be okay. Don't worry. And eating pizza by myself and drinking water. That was my wedding night. And I always just come and say, like, there's this anticipation of the wedding night, you know, obviously to be some music. Let's get it on.
Yeah, but I woke up at some point, though.
Okay,
and we definitely started to.
Hold on.
We definitely started to get it on after I woke up, though.
PG, please. Mommy, parents, leave the chat, leave the group chat.
I'm just letting people know it wasn't a whole entire. I woke up.
If there's any of my family members watching this, then just know it's about to get PG because celibacy. I mean, we're going to talk about sex, right? So, gosh, yeah. So cool. Stell was flat out, tired. So obviously, oh gosh, how raw can I get?
The thing is, I don't even know what you're gonna say. So.
I was gonna say, obviously, I had to undress you, innit? So I had to undress you. And
did you actually?
Yeah, I had to. Obviously, I took off your trousers and stuff, left you in your boxers.
That's pretty awkward, isn't it? Because that's the first time you would have seen me in my underwear,
right?
And you should have just left me to sleep. Anyway, you were my wife at that point, so it doesn't matter.
So this doesn't really matter,
so it's fine.
It's one of those things where it's like
you can have a perfect journey, doesn't mean you're gonna have a perfect wedding night, guys. Somebody might throw a cup of Ray Nephew in your direction and mess up the whole plans.
It's an interesting situation. Anyways,
Mike Tyson says everybody has a plan till they get punched in the face. The Ray Nephew punched me in the face.
Yes. So I went to sleep, and Sterling sobered up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and he was ready to get it on. I'm sleeping, so I'm just feeling somebody rub my back.
No.
Yes.
No.
I'm feeling someone rub my back. And I'm thinking, bruh. No. I even mentioned my bridesmaids in the group chat. I said, girls, the guy's flat out drunk and I'm ready to get pounded. I literally said in the group chat, I said, bruh, I'm ready. And the guy is sleeping. And all the guys, like, in the group chat, it was just like, bruh.
Wasn't my fault.
Bruh. Anyways, 4 a.m. in the morning, Sterling, he wants to get it on. I'm tired now, though, because I've actually just eaten. We've had a whole wedding day.
Yeah.
Changes, outfits, taking off my makeup. Like, I was actually very tired. And also we was flying out to Jamaica literally not the day after, the day after tomorrow, the day after the next day. So it was kind of one of those things I was just kind of like, nah, bruh, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
But anyways, Sterling was able to sweet talk me a little bit. But you know what? I'll be honest. Sterling, the fact that you was drunk, your breath smelled like throw up. And I remember getting so annoyed.
You see, one thing I'll never understand is why is it that I would hear things like this for the first time now?
That was
we've had almost 6 months for me to know this information, and now we're on the podcast. Is the time I'm finding out that my breath smelled like throw up. Well, guys, there you go. You got an exclusive. My wife didn't want to tell me this beforehand.
Do you know what the thing is? But I affirmed it. I gave you water though. I gave you quite a bit of water so I could not taste that.
Don't remember.
I don't even want to remember
guys,
that night.
I think really my point was just to say, before we even get into how we got there, I just wanted you to know the fun events of the wedding night. And just to know that, you know, it doesn't always go perfectly.
Right.
But we still got there in the end.
We did.
We got there.
Okay, so let's go into the actual celibacy part, which everybody has been waiting for. We obviously abstained from sex for nearly 3 years.
Yeah.
I was literally dating for nearly 3 years. We didn't kiss for 2 years. So how we came to that conclusion.
2 and a bit.
Yeah, about 2 years.
Till about 3 months before wedding or something like that.
Yeah. 3 months before the wedding.
We kissed on my birthday.
Yeah, his birthday.
It was my birthday treat to you, I guess.
Yeah. It was my birthday.
Don't know how that works, actually. I should have probably done it on your birthday.
Yeah.
Why am I giving you a birthday treat?
But one thing I definitely would say is that, you know, when it comes to abstinence, I think you just both have to come on the same page. Like, do we believe that celibacy means you don't have to kiss? No. We made that as a personal choice. So we didn't kiss because Sterling felt like it could have potentially triggered him. And I think one of the things with celibacy is you have to know your sexual triggers. You have to know the things that will trigger you sexually. So
and if you don't have a sexual past, that might be hard to know.
Yes, it
or
would be.
if you haven't like, you know, been with any type of person.
It's kind of interesting because for me, I've never, obviously prior to you, I've never been with someone sexually in the area of penetration.
Yeah.
Have I done things sexually in terms of maybe like, have I done sexual things with other people? Yes. In terms of penetration, no.
Yeah.
So I feel like I still knew my sexual triggers, but also one of the things is as well that when I was last sexually active prior to you, I was in my teens. I was actually, and I think it's also being able to understand that sexually your desires will change. So obviously when I was a teen, I was figuring it out. I was young, I guess horny, experimenting. There was a lot of things kind of going on. So when I think about the woman I am today and the girl that I was back then, it's one of those things that I found that my triggers are very different. So I remember when I even tried communicating my triggers to you, I didn't realize I was communicating what I once knew, which was many years ago. So even in marriage, I'm still discovering what actually triggers me sexually.
Right.
And I think that's okay. And that's being able to understand your body, know your body, and being able to communicate, right? And I think, you know, with celibacy, one of the things that I'm so grateful in terms of being able to abstain from sex is that we developed great communication. Great communication. I will always come and say that sex is a place where sex is such an intimate, intricate, beautiful experience. And I think it becomes more beautiful when you both learn how to communicate.
Yeah.
Because sex is really all about communication.
Yeah, it requires a lot of communication.
Yes, and I feel that we built that communication through abstinence.
Yeah. Why is abstinence important to you? Why do you believe it's important in society?
Yeah. Why I think abstinence is important is because of the fact that I will always come and say, like, I know Sterling better than anybody. Like, I can easily come and say that. Why? Because I actually had the time. I actually invested the time to get to know him emotionally, get to know you spiritually, get to know you mentally, so that when it came to the physical now, I feel like our physical experience has been heightened because emotionally I'm connected with you, spiritually I'm connected with you, mentally I'm connected with you. Because I feel like in order for you to have great sex, you have to be so present. And I think in order for you to be present with someone physically, you should build that intimacy first emotionally and mentally.
I agree 100%.
And I feel the years of being able to get to know you mentally, emotionally, abstinence is an investment into your sex life. And I think when people actually will see that as an investment, then I think abstaining is going to have a different definition.
Very interesting. For the record,
abstinence is an investment into your sex life.
Wow.
Because I feel that a lot of people see it as I'm taking away. You're not seeing what you're gaining.
Right.
And what I'm gaining is a new level of depth, a new level of intimacy. I'm enjoying getting to know my husband physically, outside of, knowing him emotionally and mentally, because I desire to get to know you.
Yeah.
Because I know you so well emotionally. I know you so well mentally. I have every single desire to get to know you and pleasure you and get to experience you sexually, because I've experienced you in amazing ways emotionally.
Yeah.
So now when I've had that, great connection with you emotionally, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to have that physically, you know?
Yeah, for me, one of the things that I always think about is when I was younger, I mean like 15, and had this girl who I was sleeping with all the time. When there was issues in the relationship, we didn't talk about it. And obviously I was young, maybe I was immature. I was definitely immature, I was young. But we didn't talk about certain things. We just had sex. That was the way to conceal any issues you were going through. So when you're talking about knowing someone emotionally, mentally, when you take the sexual side out, when there's a problem in the relationship, what are you gonna do? You can't just have an orgasm to fix a problem, because that's gonna make you feel good for a moment and make you forget what the actual issue is. But that issue is gonna come back around. You have to face each other head on and say, hey, look, this is what's happening in life right now. What are we gonna do about it? You don't have something to medicate the pain. And often I think right now sex is being used as medication, right? Instead of building intimacy, it's building, passivity.
I agree. I feel like a lot of people use sex to, medicate and numb a lot of the situations that they need to face head on. And I feel sex is not meant to be something you use, to medicate, but sex is something that you're meant to use to build intimacy.
Yeah.
And how you build intimacy, one is being able to, have those conversations and being able to get to know your partner. If I'm going to come from a biblical perspective, the Bible says that Adam knew Eve. Before you can know someone physically, you should know them emotionally and physically. I always come and say that there's no way that somebody should know, your body more than your heart. You should know my heart first before you know my body. Because in you knowing my heart, then that means you're going to be able to honor my body.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people are opening their body before you're even opening your heart.
Yeah.
How can someone learn, or how can someone know how to honor your body if you haven't first taught them how to honor your heart?
That's
and
good.
Allow them to even build that trust with your heart.
That's good.
And for me...
Wait, for the record, that was good.
I think it's really important that you allow someone to gain trust to your heart before you allow them to gain trust to your body.
Right.
And I feel the reason why it was so easy for me, I guess, even, sexually, I, remember, I was a bit scared. As I said, lost my virginity. Like, it was kind of a bit scary. Like,
it's not even a bit scared. She was scared.
I was scared.
It's not even a bit scared. She was scared.
I'll be honest. Like,
she was scared.
This is going to be, for the record, you guys are going to get the real. Yeah, I was actually very scared.
And we had a lot of conversations before that point about about the fact that you were scared about that, to be honest. It wasn't like something that was a surprise.
Yeah.
Like, we had talked about this was a fear of yours.
And I remember there being a moment where
what is she about to say here? What is she about to say?
There was just a moment where Sterling was, saying to me in the most gentle way, you can trust me. And, sex is meant to be a safe space. And the fact that I could open up my body to him, is because of the fact that I trust him with my body. Because I saw how much I could trust you with my heart. So even being able to be intimate with you now was on a deeper level, because it was kind of like, wow, this is someone who I've seen treat my heart with so much tenderness. And also the crazy thing is that Sterling is such a, he's my favorite lover. He's my only lover. But
better be your favorite lover.
You're my favorite lover, my only lover, the only lover of the head. But Sterling is so gentle, and I feel, you know, that is, I'm not shocked by that, because you've always been gentle with my heart. In a sense of the fact that, you know, Sterling's so intentional in terms of our intimacy. He's so intentional in communicating, you know, how much he wants me, in terms of, you know, this man's a freak. But I love that. And vice versa. We are very much, we love each other, and we communicate
100%. 100%.
We communicate that.
100%. That's not even something to be shy about.
No one can read our text.
That's not even something to be shy about.
I'm about to do a talk, and I'm just here thinking about my husband, and I'll message him something dirty. I'll be like, oh, like, I need me some, a Sterling. But it's one of but it's one of those things where, like, I'm so grateful that I can get to this place of even comfortability where I can kind of be like, I don't know how to explain it. Because I can trust Sterling, I can trust his words when he says he wants me. And the scariest thing is to be with somebody who says they want you, but you don't trust their words. So when they say they desire you, you don't even know if they truly desire you, because you don't trust what leaves their mouth. And as I said, how you build that is through building trust on an emotional level.
Yeah.
So now when they come and say they desire you physically, you can trust that they want you physically. Yeah. Because you know, they've shown that they want your emotion.
You can see there's a lot here we're talking about that is, especially from Hayley's angle, is a lot based on trust.
Yes, trust is a big
basically
thing.
Like the most valuable thing you have is between your legs, essentially. It's the most sacred part of you. Every man is out here trying to conquer and hunt and get. Why would you give that to someone who you do not trust? Why would you give that to someone who does not value your heart, like you said? Why would you give that to someone who, I mean, you literally have the power to create life. Literally, you literally hold the power to create life. And I guess from my angle, from the male angle, we always speak about, well, often we talk about abstinence from the female angle. It seems to be women who are the ones who drive the conversation of, oh, I want to hold myself to marriage, and then some guy comes along and he says some nice words or something and kind of catches them and takes them off the rail. But why I think it's important from a male perspective, I've said this many times before, but I think the most powerful man in any room is a man that can control himself sexually. I think that is the most powerful man in every single room. The hardest thing for a man to do is to control himself sexually. If you can do that, you can do everything else in the world. Even when I read my Bible, even when I read the holy text, what do I see? A consistent pattern of men messing up with women. Even when you go Abraham, all the way from the top, he couldn't wait for his wife to conceive, so he went and slept with someone else and created a whole nother nation. You see Samson, you see David, you just go all the way through, and there's so many examples of men that could not control themselves. And the consequences that it has when a man cannot control himself sexually. If that is not, if you just need to open that for 5 minutes, you just need to look in there for 5 minutes, and you'll realize that that is not a good idea. You don't need God to knock you on your forehead and tell you, maybe you shouldn't do that. You can see the evidence. And especially many of us that don't have fathers present, we see the physical effect of a man having sex, creating a child, and not being there to commit to the relationship. Why would we want to follow in those footsteps? For me personally, man, I'll tell this story because why not? When I was 15 years old and God saved me at 15, I was still sleeping with this girl. And I swear to you, no word of a lie, the Holy Spirit was on me at this point. I was still sleeping with this girl. But it got to a point where the Holy Spirit was on me so much. Every time I would sleep with her, I would have such deep conviction. Like, I would actually feel like, oh my God. Like, it would feel so bad. I would literally, in the bed, no word of a lie, in the bed, I would turn over and I would start to cry. It got to a point, it was that deep, where I could not physically control how bad I felt because of my sin. And I said to God, I said, God, like, I can't keep doing this. And so for me, the decision to be abstinent or celibate was not just based on, I'm just trying to be a disciplined man. It was based on God actually is calling me to another standard, to the point where the things I used to do, I can't do them anymore. And there's a lot of Christians who are probably watching this, who are in between this place, they're finding it hard, and they are condemned. One thing I know about trying to be a Christian and getting caught up in sexual stuff is you feel terrible afterwards. You feel terrible. You feel like God's left you. You feel like he's forsaken you. You start to feel like, well, I might as well keep going, because there's like, God probably doesn't even, you start to feel so bad, so guilty. It messes with your whole head. And so for everybody out there who is doing something, and you may be feeling that guilt, you may be feeling that condemnation, I want to tell you right now that I've been there. I've shed the tears. I've cried with God over it. And I want you to know that he forgives you. And I want you to know that he is not looking at you as an outcast because you've made a mistake, or even making mistakes. He doesn't look at you that way. But his desire is for you to recognize that you can come to him in your messed up place, just like I did, and he can take you through a process to start unraveling these layers. Most of the time, we don't ask ourselves the question, why do we even need sex? Why do we want it right now? Most of us know this person isn't good for us, you know. So why do we want sex from them? Why? What is it in us that makes us want to sleep with someone that we know doesn't value us?
Wow.
If you take that to God...
For the record, that...
What did I even just say?
What's in us that makes us want to sleep?
For the record, what is in us that makes us want to have sex with someone that we know doesn't value us, or we know that we don't value? Right? If you take that question to God, that's what I had to do. I found out how, that's when I even realized how big of an issue my dad was. Wow. Right? Take that to God, you'll find out answers. You won't need the sex anymore, because he'll start to deal with the root issues. Wow. A lot of the time we can't be abstinent because there's some root issues we haven't dealt with, and we need the sex to pacify the pain.
No, it's true. I think, sex is such an interesting topic in terms of society, because there's a lot of people that find affirmation in sex. There's a lot of people that find affirmation in their body count.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that find affirmation in terms of how many, penises can they make go hard? Like, just lyrics, you can think about, from the Cardi B to the Meg Stallions, about how many times did he nut and stuff like that. Like, there's so much affirmation there. And I think, like, that's such a dangerous place to be. Like, I don't think you should ever be somebody that you find your affirmation in terms of what you can give to somebody sexually. Yeah. But I think, at the end of the day, if you take sex off the table, are you somebody that, somebody actually feels safe with you? Yeah. Like, if sex is not on the table, can someone feel safe with you? I think that's more powerful than being able to come and say, yes, like, you give good head, or yes, you make her come and whatnot. Like, can they feel safe with you? Because, being able to provide safety is priceless. Because at the end of the day, if I'm going through trauma, if I'm going through things, can I trust that you're somebody who I can open up to and know that you're someone I can be vulnerable with? And that's what I mean in terms of, the scariest thing that I find is in society is that people are promoting people to be naked rather than vulnerable. Like, how do you expect me to be properly naked with you if I can't even be naked with my heart? Wow. Like, if I can't be open with my heart towards you, what makes you feel like I can truly be open up with my body? And I feel that sex, really gets heightened to a new level when there's emotional and spiritual connection. And I think a lot of people dismiss that. I think a lot of people dismiss the importance of building that emotional
I see people on TikTok talking about that all the time. Yeah. The spiritual side of sex, I see the TikTokers talking
do you know what?
about
I think this is probably going to be a series, because I think there's so many different things to kind of delve into in terms of, like, you know, what are the practical things that
I think we should do that. I was about to go there. We should just do that now.
We should just do that now. I mean, yeah, we've got like, yeah, okay, cool. We've got like 10 minutes. So I'll say maybe 3 practical things that I did that helped me.
3 practical things.
Yeah, 3 practical things each.
I don't know 3 practical things I did. We just do together, joint, because I don't know.
I
know what we did.
Yeah.
But like, I can't necessarily isolate what I did.
I would say 3.
Wait, before you start.
Yeah.
We had our physical intimacy came in layers, because obviously when we got in a relationship, like many of you know, the first thing we did, we got counsel, like straight away. And our counsel said something really, really important. They said, Hayley's someone that loves hard. Hayley's someone that if she falls for someone, she's going all in. And we may not be able to get her out. We ain't sure we can save her if she goes in this time. So they put certain physical parameters in place to help us to maintain like a healthy relationship and make sure that we were sure that we even wanted to do this. So for the first 3 months, we couldn't even hold hands. And this is something we were not forced to do. We agreed to do because we chose to be accountable to these people. So we chose to do this. But we said, we ain't going to hold hands for the 3 months. We're going to be emotional support to each other, but not physical supports. So we barely hugged. We barely held hands. It was purely 3 months.
I feel like it was easier because it was in COVID. So I didn't really, even though I saw you, I didn't see you as much. I didn't see you for like 2 months at one point.
I mean, just one time is enough to.
Yeah, true.
But we. So we spent
hard if I've seen you more
every day. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we spent time talking, getting to know each other. Even though we're already friends, getting to know each other on a bit of a deeper level, seeing how if we connect emotionally, spiritually, just checking that side out. And after that 3 months was done, we kind of both said, yeah, we want to be here. Yeah, basically, the 3 months was to check if we wanted to be here. Yeah. And then from that point is the part where it got to the okay, no kissing, hold hands, no kissing part. And I guess that's where our abstinence period really was.
Yeah. I'll say something that really helped me in terms of our abstinence and celibacy journey is journeying with people who are on the same journey as you. I think it's really hard for you to be the only person doing it. So I'm kind of happy that I had friends that were also abstaining, friends that were also, you know, believed in celibacy as well. Because I do believe that, you know, outside, and also this is something I'll say to Christians, like, God convicting you is not enough. Like, you have to have your reasons outside of your faith as to why you want to abstain from sex. So I will always come and say this, and this is not to be condescending or even to, you know, to look down on anyone that has had sex before, but this is the standard that I held myself to. I remember when I went to Eric Thomas's conference. Eric Thomas is a really big speaker, and obviously I'm a speaker as well, and he's a person of faith. But Eric Thomas actually has this rule that if you're working with him, you can't have sex before marriage. Yeah. Because, and especially if you're a man, because he really believes that if you can discipline yourself, you can be somebody who's a better businessman. If you can be a better husband, a better, you know, if you can be someone that is disciplined in his sex life, they can be disciplined in all areas of their life.
I agree.
And that's something that Eric Thomas has, a strict rule that he has. Bro. But also, he was talking about the fact that, you know, he's one of the biggest speakers in the world. Eric Thomas is the real deal. If you don't know who Eric Thomas is, you got to go see who Eric Thomas is. And Eric Thomas is talking about the fact that the reason why he feels so confident to go on stage, and the reason why he feels so confident to speak to thousands and millions of people, empowering them and talk to them about their life, encouraging them about their life, is because he knows there's no other woman, there's no woman that will ever be giggling, you know, in the audience, saying, like, like, you know, I saw him last night, I was with him last night, I was riding him last night. He literally comes and says, the only woman that can ever say that is my wife. And that touched me differently, especially where I've got a personal brand, especially where I have, you know, I'm a speaker, I go to different places. I found that I never wanted to be in a position where there would be another man or someone that could giggle and come and say, yeah, but I did her last night, or I made her moan, or like the only person that can come and say such things about me, I wanted it to be my husband. And I wanted the only person that had access to say things about me like in that way was my husband. So that was a real area that I thought, I've got to protect my brand. I've got to protect my reputation. I've got to protect what I'm building, because God forbid I build something to, you know, a high level, and I've got one man that's got a nude on me, or one man that, you know, has something against me sexually. Yeah. Because I was in a dark place, because I didn't heal, I let him into an area of my life that he had no business being in.
Yeah.
And now you have access to me in a way that you didn't even deserve me.
Yeah.
So I feel like I just didn't want to compromise in that area. And I'm so grateful that there is no man that can come and giggle and stuff. And yes, there's this whole joke. And yes, that I used to be the lip sync queen, blah, 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 blah. But I'll be real. And every single guy is void. every single person that I lips for getting saved is void. And the crazy thing is as well, is the fact that it's not even that I didn't kiss Sterling for 2 years. I didn't kiss anyone for a good 6 years. So even though, yes, I used to be someone who was kissing and lip-syncing and literally just lip-syncing and being lip-sync queen, I didn't kiss anyone for 6 years after I got saved. The person that I kissed was my husband. And that was after we abstained from kissing, should I say, for 2 years. But I didn't kiss anyone for 6 years.
Right.
And I'm proud of that. And the reason why I didn't kiss anyone for 6 years is for the same reason as to why I've never had sex before marriage. It's because I didn't want anybody to come with a story, anybody to come with that power, anyone to come with that entitlement. And I just felt like I had to protect that, where I have a brand and where I have a name and where I'm building something. And, you know, it's not even to slut shame. That is the word, I guess. But I'll be real, I don't feel comfortable with the fact that Kim Kardashian's brand first started from a sex tape. Because I just feel that there's going to come a time where your children will hear about it and they will ask you questions.
Yeah.
And I feel like society has made sex be so kind of like, oh, it is what it is. It's kind of like, no, I think it's still something. And yes, we joke about, and yes, we talk about, you know, but there's still levels of intimacy and privacy, and there's still such, sex is still very sacred.
It's sacred, man. It's sacred.
I just feel like it shouldn't, not just anybody should be able to see that level and layer
vulnerability.
Yeah,
that's like the most vulnerable you can be,
literally. You know, so yeah, I definitely would say, as I said, you know, have your reasons outside of your faith as to why you want to abstain. You know, journey with people, have people around you who encourage you.
Community is very important.
Community is very important.
Very, very important. Like, you want good examples of people who've done it.
Yes.
And you even want to talk to people who didn't do it and wish they did.
Yeah.
You know, so they can actually speak to you about what, like, okay, they didn't abstain. This is the issues it caused for them.
Yeah.
And you want to hear both sides.
I had a lot of friends that came and told me that they regret losing their virginity and they wish they abstained.
Yeah.
I've had quite a lot of friends that, you know, have, you know, commended, you know, Sterling and I, for some people, were the first people that they've ever seen abstain for that long.
Yeah.
For some of our friends, they'd never seen anything like that, heard anything like that. And
especially when it comes to the kissing stuff.
Yeah.
People ain't heard
especially because all our friends are not Christian. Like, we've got friends that, you know, believe in God.
But even the Christian ones.
Yeah.
Kissing is actually very common now.
But that's what I'm saying, though. I'm saying it in a sense of celibacy is not just for Christianity.
Yeah.
Celibacy is not just for religion. My stance on celibacy is, yes, it's inspired by my faith, but I have reasons that are non.
100%.
Why I believe
100%
abstinence is a beautiful thing. As I said, it's about building that intimacy, that emotional connection
with your partner,
your partner, and really, you know, finding new ways to explore. How can I make my partner happy, or how can we build? You know.
Yeah. I think there's some very simple practicals, like, what business do you have going into someone's bedroom that you're not trying to sleep with?
Oh yeah, we didn't go into each other's bedrooms.
Like, that's a very simple practical that I think a lot of people miss. Why are you in his room?
Yeah.
You have no intention of having sex with him. You don't need to see his underwear drawer. Like, there's no, you know what I'm saying? There's no actual reason that you would have to be in his bed if you're somebody who's trying to abstain from sex. So that practically, just avoid that. Just avoid the bedroom.
Also the timing as well. Like, you know, if I was ever at Sterling's house, like really late, like your roommate would be there then sometime.
He'd be there sometimes in the daytime too.
He'd be there during the day.
He'll pop in, shout out Dennis. He'll pop in and out just to make sure. Because I would say to him, like, bro, Haley's coming over today. You know what I'm on? Just, you know, just be around. Do you know what I'm saying? Hold me accountable.
And also for me, like, Sterling wasn't really ever coming to my mum's house really late. I think just being at my mum's house as well, that helped, because I was never trying to do anything in mum's house. Never trying to do nothing in my mum's house. You know, and it obviously when my mum was around, like, you know, we was just in a living room, like, it was one of those things where I was very respectful. Obviously, it's my mum's house, you know what I mean? So there was that moment. But also something else that, you know, really, one of the reasons why I also abstain is for the young girls that are looking up to me. You know, obviously, I've got my excellence babies, my excellence girls who I love so deeply. It's the group of girls that I mentor. And, you know, I told them, I was like, yeah, I'm celibate. And I always just had this fear of where, you know, I've got young Christian girls looking up to me to know it's possible. If I fall, it's kind of like, whoa, like, that's it. If she can fall, what about me?
Yeah.
And the fact that I didn't lets them know it is possible.
Right.
And I just had this, I felt this responsibility to the girls that I'm mentoring to let them know it is possible to get to the altar without having sex. It is possible to abstain. It is possible to find a man who is willing to get to know you, willing to get to know your scars, willing to get to know your heart, willing to get to nurture you and love you outside of sex, so that when you have sex, it's a beautiful thing because he got to know your heart before he got to know your body. I wanted to teach my girls, my excellence girls, the girls that I mentor, to know it's possible. And I remember saying to them, honestly speaking, one of my biggest fears was to ever come to them and say, oh, I messed up, or if I was pregnant before, you know, marriage, because I know how much these girls were looking up to me. I know how much they were rooting for me. And when you've got people rooting for you, when you understand your call, when you understand your purpose, when you understand you're a standard bearer, when you understand that you have a higher call, you have a higher responsibility, that you have people who are rooting for you and depending on you to get to the other side. I think the thing is that
cheering you on too.
Cheering you on. You know, I think when it comes to breaking something generational, I think you have to understand that it's people depending on you to do it. And for me, being able to get married and break something generational, growing up in a single parent household, I understood it's not just, you know, the girls that are betting on me, it's my future kids. They're betting on me to make sure that they don't grow up in an environment that I grew up in, which was with a single parent.
Yeah.
And I felt like it's so important to do what I could possibly do to put the parameters in place to make sure that my kids will grow up in a household with both mother and father. And I just was never putting myself in a predicament to have a child outside of wedlock. And I always say this with my friends, my closest friends, we all have the same thing. And the thing is, not all my closest friends are abstaining from sex.
Yeah.
But all of us have this one thing. All my closest friends, we've all got this one thing. We believe that children should be born in wedlock. Even though we don't all believe in abstinence before marriage, we all believe that children should be born in a healthy environment, a healthy marriage, a healthy relationship. And I hate the idea that society comes and says, you know, marriage is not important, it's just a paper. That is not true. You know, marriage is not just paper. If we're taking it even outside of the spiritual, it's actually really important in terms of, you know, your funds. It's important in terms of your assets. Marriage is not just a paper. Marriage is actually something that is respected by the law. You know, your tax gets taken down. There's so many benefits that I could talk about in terms of marriage. But when people come and say, oh, it's not that deep, like having kids, like, no. I generally will always push for children to be born in wedlock. And I do understand that, you know, life isn't black and white, that there is going to be some circumstances that happen outside of wedlock. And I never come and say, if you have your child outside of wedlock, you're not good enough or that's not good enough. But it's just for a perspective in a sense of I just personally was never putting myself into that predicament, and and my children as well. And I'm quite a stubborn person, so I felt I had to be stubborn with the calling that I have, you know. And I'll end it here. Like, you know when you have purpose, and when you know your purpose, you know your call, you know what God's calling you to, there's just certain areas you will not compromise in. And one of the areas that I was never compromising in was sex, because I understood the weight of my call. I understood what I was called to do, my purpose. And this is why, with this podcast, my heart is always to advocate for healing, to advocate to getting to know yourself, advocate to get to know what God wants for you, what God has for you. Because when you understand what God has for you, when you understand what God wants to do in you, what God wants to do through you, you will not just be entertaining any Tom, Dick and Harry. You will not just be entertaining any Sally, Chardonnay or whatever. You would be so focused on purpose that when the time is right, you will see purpose in your wife or see purpose in your husband, and you would do everything you can to protect that. Yeah. And also, in me abstaining from sex, I understood that I was also preparing for my future husband. I did actually at one point desire to get married. I didn't always desire to get married, but there did come a time, and I guess like when I was maybe 22, when I desired to get married. And I remember when I was 22, I ended up in a very, very, very techie situationship. And I remember when I was in this situationship, and it didn't even happen in this country. Nothing happened sexually, but it could have. And I remember when things went left, and I asked myself, Hayley, are you gonna be somebody that will come with the narrative to your future husband that between this time and this time, I was doing what I can to heal? Or are you gonna come with the narrative of between this time and this time, I was messing about, but now we're here, I guess I'll fix up? Like, if you're really serious about marriage, and if you're really serious about settling down, the preparation doesn't happen when you've got a ring on your finger. Like, you taking that seriously doesn't happen when a man enters into your life or when a ring is on your finger. Things shift when you understand, as a single woman, you've just got to accommodate for what you want your future to look like. Right. So yeah, that's what I'm landing on. I
guess we're gonna have to do a part 2.
We're gonna have to do.
I guess so. I think we'll make part 2 more practical.
I think
Hayley wanted to talk about the whys.
The whys, yeah. I think
Hayley
I just
wanted to talk about the whys.
It's not just about Hayley wanted to talk about the whys, child. I think in terms of celibacy, there's just so many layers, and that's what I mean. Said that maybe it has to be a series. Maybe it has to be, as I said, what we said about the practical things. The why. I think the reason why we should talk about why we were celibate is it's important to give people context, because there's going to be some people who may be watching this podcast and may have never seen anybody be celibate before, and we're given a different perspective. So I think it's just being able to educate and inform. And as I said, it's our opinions. We're not judging or looking down upon anybody that has any alternative lifestyles, or anyone that doesn't believe in celibacy, or anyone that anybody that's even believes in celibacy as you've messed up. No, like,
if the conversation isn't brought to the table, then people can't choose.
Yeah,
so it's not really about whether you agree or not. It's about somebody watching being able to have every opinion and pick for themselves which one they want to follow.
For sure.
If you don't want to follow an abstinence review, that's fine. But somebody else who, like you said, might have never heard of it, might come across this podcast and say, do you know what? That is for me. That is the path I want to go down. And if that's the case, they take it.
But guys, let us know if you want a part 2.
Well, we have to give them a part 2 now. Oh. We have to.
Yeah, we're going to give you a part 2, guys.
Yeah, because there's so many things we didn't talk about. The fact that we were both dealing with masturbation.
Oh, yeah.
How did that impact our abstinence? We may have been abstinent with each other, but how did we deal with our own sexual desires internally as well in our relationship? That's a big part. And that often causes people to mess up as well.
Yeah.
Navigating that. Then also there's a lot more practicals I'm sure we could say as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's a lot to touch on. So we'll do a part 2 or something for sure. But comment down below what you thought. Also, don't forget to comment down below about what friendship means to you. Babe, hold up the book, please, one more time. What friendship means to you. If you are somebody who wants to win a free copy of To My Sisters by Courtney and Renee, you got to comment down below what friendship means to you as well. But we appreciate you for watching this. I think this was a longer one than we usually do.
Yeah, for sure. And let me just say, guys, please subscribe.
Yes, hit the button right now. Subscribe. Hit the button right now. 50% of people who subscribe, 50% of people who watch this podcast are not subscribed. So if you're watching this right now, there's a 50% chance you're not subscribed. So press that subscribe button right now.
Follow us on TikTok.
We're blowing up. We're blowing up on the TikTok.
Follow us on TikTok, Instagram. Connect with us on socials. DM us. Literally send your questions, whether it's through DMs, TikTok. Comment below. Please comment, share. You literally use the hashtag for the record. Share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, share it on Snapchat, share it with a friend. Like, we just, as I said, like, this whole podcast is to have conversations in terms of relationships, being a young married couple, and just open up these conversations. As I said, we're not marriage experts. We are marriage students. We are 100%. Learning as we're speaking. And as I said, we're going to be bringing on guests as well, people who have actually really helped us on the journey and people that we respect in terms of relationships. We just want to encourage healthy relationships. We are so for love. We love love. We love healthy love more than anything. And we just want to let people know it's possible, especially if you're someone in your early 20s, if you're someone who's young. And it's not even just for anyone who's young. In life, it's so important to believe that healthy love is possible, It's so possible. But, babe, I know you want to talk about the Patreon because some people have been asking about the Patreon. Yeah,
we've had comments about the Patreon. We've definitely had comments. I've been working on it. We've been working on it behind the scenes. So for those of you who want to support us in another way and also get some benefits for that, below this video, you are going to see a few different links to some Patreon subscriptions that you can do. I'm getting there, my love. I'm getting there. So make sure you check the description. But we have 3 different levels and tiers. And we thought they were cool names. So hopefully you agree.
Yeah.
But the first tier is the record shakers. Okay. Now this is people, who want to shake things up a bit. You know what I'm saying? They want to dip their toe in the water, see what's there, things like that. And for people like that, we're gonna have essentially a chat where we can get additional bonus content and start to engage a bit more with us and kind of we can kind of interact with you and get to know you a little bit more. Yeah. So that's the first level. The second level is, I don't know if you want to say it. You want me to say? Okay. So the first level is the record shakers. You're shaking it up a bit. The second level is the record breakers. Now these are people who've said, listen, where I've come from is not where I'm trying to stay. I'm not trying to repeat a cycle that I've seen previously. You actually want to break certain things, a record in your family, a record in your life, whether it be financially, emotionally, relationshiply, if that's a word, whatever it is, you want to break it. And for people like that, that's where you get to access a lot of the bonus content that we're going to be creating. So the podcast is going to be free. You're going to get so much value from the podcast, but all the guests and the people we respect and admire, we are going to be getting them to do bonus bits of content that are going to be specifically for people on Patreon. So if you want to have access to that bonus content, it's going to be on relationships, it's going to be on finance, it's going to be on family, so many different things. Just to help you navigate life and to break those cycles. That is for the record breakers. And then, were you going to say something?
For the record makers.
Okay, see. The last one is the record makers, okay? So that is the third tier. The record makers are the people who don't just say we want to break records. They say we want to set new records. We want to set new standards, okay, for us, but also for our community. These are for people who are really serious about basically not just their house, but their community, their environment, their society, and changing the way things look. And that's where the live streams are going to come into play. You're going to see a full description, a full detailed thing in the description, but I'm just briefly going over some of these things. Live streams with guests, for example. We're going to make sure that these people are the ones that get sweet discounts when special things come out, like products or events or any of these other interesting things as well. I feel like I might be missing something out, but if I am, it's going to be in the description. But for those of you that want to support in some way, all the prices, all the information, what's unlocked, is all going to be down below in the description. And we are very grateful, even now, that you would want to do that for us.
I think more than anything, guys, we're just grateful for the fact that you guys have been watching.
Every week we have over 1,000 views.
Yeah, literally, we are so overwhelmed with the love, the support, the amount of people that follow us, the amount of people who engage in our content, sharing our content. Like, honestly, God bless you. And I'm just so grateful that, you know, we are ones that are invested in making our love stories better, making our love stories healthier, and, you know, prayingly, is that a word? Prayingly. I pray so, and I pray this deeply, that we will be the ones that will set a new record, and that's the hashtag from our wedding day. We'll set a new record for our own families. We'll set a new record for our friends. We'll set a new record for our communities.
100%.
I guess it's the perfect time for us to pray.
Go on.
Hold my hand. Father God, I want to thank you so much for every single person that is listening to us, God, that's listening to the sound of our voice, God. Thank you for the fact that, you know, you're allowing us to be ones that set a new record for our friendship, set a new record for our family, set a new record in terms of love stories. That, God, we want to thank you for the fact that we are able to do something new, you know, with you. And God, we just even surrender our love story into your heart. We surrender, you know, everything that we may struggle with into your hands. So for anybody that may be even struggling in terms of celibacy, abstinence, that God, this is something you care about. This is something that you desire. And God, we know we can't do it without you. So God, we just partner, you know, on behalf of every single person that may be struggling there.
Yes, sir.
That God, you may let them know that it's possible, that surround them with the right community, surround them with the right convictions, surround them, Lord, with the right, you know, messages, the right sermons, the right, you know, reasons as to why they may want to abstain. But God, we just want to bless, you know, every single person listening, and we say, God, may you give them, you know, destiny helpers as they're on the way to destiny and on the way to purpose. That, God, you shall help them know that it is possible in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
So, guys, we are at the end of this episode. We'll be back again next week for part 2.
Yeah. I want to say again, for anybody who's feeling guilty, condemned, this is a topic that when it comes to the sexual stuff, people can feel so guilty about things that they've done. For anyone that is feeling condemned, God is not condemning you.
Yes.
He is not condemning you.
At all.
He is looking for you to run to him. He wants to deal with these things with you. Yes. He does not want you to allow it to take you further away from him. He wants you to come closer.
Yeah. As I said, guys, just know it's possible. And as to what Sterling said, like, you know, God is not a father that you make a mistake. You're kind of like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so scared to tell my dad. It's like you mess up, you're like, oh my gosh, I need to call my dad. I need to call my dad. That's God. Like, God doesn't want you to feel like you can't call him. The Bible actually says that, you know, he's present in a time of trouble. So if you are generally someone who's struggling with this, and you're struggling, you know, with, you know, just being able to abstain, or, you know, being celibate, or even masturbation, you know, as I said, there's so many different layers we're going to get into. Invite God into that area, because he wants to know, and he wants to help you. He wants to be involved, you know. So yeah, guys, until next week, for the record, we out.
We out. Peace.